Hey guys, I wanted to take a few minutes and go over some stuff that I saw this weekend. Baseball is a lot like chess, and you can't play the game of chess if you don't understand how the pieces are supposed to move. Baseball really has a blueprint in understanding where we're supposed to be, when we're supposed to be there, how we're supposed to do things defensively, how we're supposed to do things on the bases. All that really matters, okay? And it's just about executing those things consistently. Now, obviously, as young teams, we're not going to know all this stuff yet, okay? But that's what we're here for. We're here to make sure that you guys understand the gameplay, because I'll be honest, I struggle when I go watch high school teams play right now because there's such a lack of these fundamental things coming up through travel ball and coming up through youth baseball right now, that these guys get to high school and they don't have a basic understanding of how they're supposed to do this stuff. And really, it's quite simple as long as you take the time to learn. First thing I want to say is it is so important in the game of baseball to communicate and focus. Okay? If you can't talk, if you can't communicate, and if you can't take 2 hours to have undivided focus for that entire time, you can't play the game of baseball. Okay? Two of the things that seem to be lacking nowadays is kids are afraid to talk. They're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to take charge. Everybody always wants to take a back seat and follow because they don't want to offend anybody or overstep their bounds. You have to talk. You have to communicate. Winning teams talk to each other. Winning teams communicate, okay? And then we have to be able to focus the entire time, all right? There's too many times where if you go to a baseball game, guys forget the number of outs on defense or on offense. Guys forget the count. Guys aren't paying attention to the baseball, so the ball gets thrown somewhere, and guys don't take an extra base, or they're not backing up, or whatever it is. We have to communicate and we have to focus to be able to play the game of baseball. If you can't do those things, this game will not work for you, okay? It will not work. You'll have to pick something else, okay? Have to communicate and have to focus. Few things with communication. Now, this is more from a technique standpoint. And a lot of these things that I'm going to go over with, I saw amongst all the teams. Okay, so I'm just going to go through them in just kind of one by one here. But I saw them whether I was watching the 12-year-old teams, the 13-year-old team. All right, but pop-up communication. Okay, number one, we have to make sure we're talking. We have to make sure we're communicating. We can't be afraid to take charge on pop-ups. Okay, we have to understand that in the infield, the shortstop has the most priority. Okay, he's got priority over the third baseman and priority over the second baseman. Okay, second baseman has priority over the first baseman. The first and third baseman have priorities over the pitcher and catcher. Okay, outfielders have priority on pop-ups over infielders. Okay, and then in the outfield, the center fielder has the most priority. So if he calls a ball, he's got priority over the left fielder or right fielder. Okay, but we have to communicate loud and we have to take charge. And every player's got to go after a ball with the intent that they're going to catch it until someone with higher priority than you calls you off. Okay. One of the things that I saw this weekend, our shortstops on a pop-up behind the third base bag, okay, behind the third baseman, that's typically going to be your ball, okay? I saw a couple teams and a couple shortstops look at the third baseman expecting them to kind of turn around or back up and go get that ball. Our shortstop, you've got priority over that third baseman. You're attacking that ball, and if you can get to that ball, you're calling the third baseman off anyways, okay? It's a tough play for the third baseman to go back, all right? We got to make sure we communicate there. Middle infielders, you've got to talk more on plays in the middle, okay, especially with a runner on first. Multiple times we had 2 outs and a runner on first this weekend, and a ball was hit to the shortstop, and our second baseman covers. Easy play at second, easy flip. We're out of the inning, and we throw the ball across to first base, okay? Number one, the second baseman never communicated, hey, I got the bag, I'm here. Ball. Whatever. Frankly, I don't care how you guys communicate it, okay? As long as you take charge and communicate it. And in the shortstop, you've got to anticipate that. You've got to know that, hey, if the ball's hit to me, if it's hit right at me, I've got my force at second base. I don't want to throw the ball across the infield. If I don't have to, I'll flip it to my second baseman. Make sure we talk right there. Pitchers, Anytime a ball is hit to your left, a ground ball hit to your left, you are immediately thinking that you've got to get over and cover first base. All right, every ground ball that I saw hit to a first baseman this weekend, our pitcher just turned and looked at him, expected him to field the ball and beat the runner to first base. Okay, PFPs, pitcher's fielding practice. Okay, PFPs, a pitcher has got to take a route. As soon as the ball is hit to your left, you are anticipating that you're going to have to cover the bag. You can always shut it down. Okay, if the first baseman fields it and he's going to beat the guy to first, he's gonna put his hand up and tell you, hey, I got it, and then you can shut it down. Catchers, your communication there, as soon as that ball's hit, you're yelling, get over, get over, get over. All right, you're kind of the babysitter out there. Okay, you got to anticipate that the pitcher is going to do the wrong thing. Okay, and so you see a ball hit to the right side. Okay, ball's hit to, obviously the pitcher's left. You're right as you're looking at it as the catcher. Ball's hit to the right side. Ball's going to the first baseman. You're already yelling immediately at the pitcher, get over, get over, get over. And then he's got to get over and cover the bag. Another communication as far as infielders. All right, we had a play in the 13U game where we're on defense. They've got a runner on second, and they hit a ground ball down the third base line that our third baseman's, or towards the third base line, that our third baseman easily, makes the play, but has a long throw across the infield. And there was either no outs or 1 out. Okay, there wasn't 2 outs. If there's 2 outs, we'll just make the play at first base. But there was either no outs or 1 out, and their guy is halfway to third base. All right, we throw the ball to first. I believe we got the out, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, all right, the guy that was on second base goes and advances to third. All right, second baseman, you got to communicate right there. Now our third baseman's got to see it. All right, but our second baseman, you're his eyes as well. You got to crash to the bag, and you got to communicate that we're gonna take that runner that has just ran himself into an out. Okay, we're not gonna throw the ball across the infield and give him an extra base. All right, if they want to give up their runner that's already in scoring position, we're going to take that out. Okay, so you need to crash to the bag and be yelling to them, hey, ball, 2. And then third baseman, don't just haul off and throw to second. See the guy, which you should have already seen him. All right, but we'll take that guy. We'll have that guy in a rundown, or if he turns around and runs back to second, we'll throw him out at second base. But their guy was halfway to third base. We throw the ball across the infield and he advances. Some situational stuff here. With runners on base, runners on second base mainly. Okay, multiple times on base hits and balls into the outfield. All right, we had no cut whatsoever to the plate. Okay, every single time this weekend, whether it was our third baseman or first baseman's responsibility, depending on where the ball was hit, just kind of stood and hung out and just stood there and watched the play. Okay, you guys got to make sure that you're getting into the middle of the infield and that you're the cut to the plate. If it's a sharp single to left, the third baseman will be the cut to the plate. Shortstop will come around and cover third. If it's a double down the line or in the gap or anything to center or right, all right, now the first baseman's going to come across the infield and he's going to be in the middle infield and be the cut. Pitchers, you guys always just stand on the mound and watch the play and basically do nothing, okay? And I don't mean that like to pick on you. I see it all the time in high school. Guys throw a pitch, balls hit, and they just stand there. Your job is to become a backup, okay? And you're going to back up third or you're going to back up home, and we'll have to go over technique and stuff like that and how that's done and the way you do it. But you're never just standing in the middle of the infield, okay? Ball's put in play, you have somewhere to go, you've got a base to back up, okay? You're never gonna throw a pitch and then just stand on the mound for the rest of the play, okay? Make sure you know where you're going. We gotta go over tandem relays, especially on the big field. It's tough on the small field because everything's so tight together, but on the big field, anytime our outfielder turns their back, all right, and goes to get a ball and it's a sure double, our middle infielders are going to go out together in the cut and they're going to be 10 to 15 feet apart. Again, we'll have to cover technique, but every time that happened this weekend, we would just have one guy go out and the trail guy would cover second for no reason because it's a sure double. Okay, and we got to make sure that we don't give up more bases by not having the tandem in case the throw from the outfield gets by that first cut man. Okay, and that's something we'll have to go over technique wise, but we've got to understand tandem relays and how that works. Holding runners at second base, we'll have to cover that as well. You know, a lot of times what you'll see at the youth levels is guys will end up, we had a play this weekend where our second baseman is basically just standing at second base, holding the runner, and their batter hit a routine ground ball to second base. Okay, where the second baseman would typically be routine ground ball where he should be standing, ends up being a base hit because we're just standing at second base holding a runner, almost like we're a first baseman holding the runner. All right, we got to kind of go over a little bit more advanced technique and how we can be more efficient. But even in that style that you're using there, you got to make sure that you're bouncing back into position and playing defense. Your number one priority is to play defense. Okay, second priority is to hold the runner. Now we should be able to do both if we know what we're doing, but we got to make sure that we don't get stuck just standing there at second, and now all of a sudden we've opened up a huge infield, and now the offense is able to have a big inning because when they really had an out, okay, because assuming we're going to make the routine play, when they really had an out, you know, a routine ground ball ends up going through the infield. Outfielders saw this multiple times as well. We will never, okay, when you have, especially, and it happened a few times when the opposition had either a runner on first or a runner on second starting to play, and that runner was either going first to third or from second to third, and we field the ball, our middle infielder standing 10 feet in front of us, and we just dump the ball to our middle infielder. Okay, if we do that, the runner on third is just going to go ahead and score. We have to make firm throws to a legitimate cut man or a base. Okay, so we're either going to make a firm throw all the way to second base if a guy's going first to third and we want to keep the batter on first, or if the runner's on second and has a chance to score on that base hit, we've got to make the firm throw to the cut that's going to be in the middle of the infield, which, as we've already said, is going to be our first or third baseman. But you should never just lob a ball to the cut man. Okay, a team that knows what they're doing on the bases is going to then just advance another base because you've lobbed it in, to a guy 10, 15 feet away from you. Okay, make firm throws. Make firm throws. When we play in one of our games this weekend, the opponent had a runner on third, actually had bases loaded with one out. And it was the winning run on third base. Okay, so we were playing the infield in. All right, outfielders, when the winning run is on third base with less than 2 outs, we're playing the infield in right there. You have to come in as well. You can't play normal depth. If you play normal depth and catch a fly ball, it's a sac fly. Game's over anyway. Okay, game's over. So, we were kind of deep. Okay, especially in center field, we were deep. All right, if we play that deep, game's over with a fly ball. Okay, we got to make sure we come in so we can also take that little bleeder, that little bloop that would normally maybe be a base hit behind the infield, or maybe the shortstop or second baseman or whoever typically catches it, but they won't catch it since they're in. We've got to come in a good bit so that we can take that away. There's no advantage to playing at normal depth because, like I said, even if we catch that normal depth fly ball, game's over. All right, they're tagging, they're scoring. We've got to make sure that we come in a little bit. We play pretty shallow in that situation so that we also are eliminating the potential of that sac fly. If they hit one over our head, we would have lost the game anyways. Okay, so whether it's a base hit or a sac fly, game's over. Okay, got to take away that bleeder.